this one play took me from a $20,000 a month business owner to a multi-million-dollar investor with one single cycle. And I want to share that with you. This play is called Launchpads, or ICOs and IDOs. There's a lot that goes into it, and I want to break down every little thing for you and leave no stone unturned. And I promise you, watch this video. There's going to be so much value in it. If you don't find any value from it, you can unsubscribe, whatever, because I promise you, it's going to work. It's going to make you money, right? It works every single cycle. So let's start off with the basics, okay? What are Launchpads? What are ICOs? What is this magical thing which, prints money? Well, the truth is, it doesn't print crazy money, okay? But if you play it right, it really, really can do, okay? So first things first, have you ever watched Dragon's Den? Okay, if you've ever watched Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, any of these programs, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, right? When you see these early stage investments, the first one that comes off my head is the Ring doorbell, right? Ring doorbell, if you've ever seen it, it's that doorbell with the camera where you click it. That deal was on Shark Tank. In fact, they actually denied that deal. They didn't accept the deal, and it went on to be a multi-billion-dollar company. But as an investor, okay, these guys had the opportunity to get in early, and they would have made 10 or 20 or even more return on their investment, like 20x, right? $10,000, $200,000, for example, right? They had the opportunity to get in that, right? And every single day on Dragon's Den and these other shows, you see entrepreneurs and startups raising equity from investors, right, to fund their startup and to scale their startup, okay? But in the crypto space, it's a little bit different. In fact, in the crypto space, it's a little bit more like Kickstarter, okay? Kickstarter, you also might have heard about this, right? Over $7 billion in funding raised for different projects, and over 252,000 different projects funded. That's insane, right? You've also probably seen products on Kickstarter. In fact, most recently, I was looking at investing in different products on Kickstarter. The only difference is there's not a token, it's most likely equity, and you do have the same risk. In fact, not all projects that start and raise on Kickstarter actually end up becoming successful. In fact, most projects, in fact, 99% of all startups actually fail within the first 5 years. That's normal, okay? That means that there's a lot of investors that invest into stuff which doesn't actually make money. However, how is it that you can invest in an industry where 99% of things fail, but when 1% of things have success, you can still make ridiculous gains, okay? That's how venture capital works. Now, let me explain to you about ICOs and IDOs in the crypto space, and then how you can get into ICOs and IDOs inside of the crypto space as well as a normal person, not a Dragon's Den special investor. Okay, so the first things first is, here's a list of the past ICOs and IDOs, right? If we go to, you can go to CryptoRank over here, and then you can take a look at the past ones, okay? So you go to ICOs, IDOs, go to past ICOs, IDOs at the top, and you can see a list of all of the past ones, okay? Now, if we look at the filter of the raw ROI, that's the return on investment at this price. Bear in mind, we're not even in deep Bullrun yet. We're not insane amounts. I'll show you how it gets when stuff goes to all-time high and it goes insane. The returns are ridiculous. But at this price, okay, at this stage of the market, there are still investors sat on a 7,959% return on Ethereum, a 2,125%, 25x, return on BNB. Okay, Solana, a 423x return on Solana. Okay, that's not percentages, guys. That's X. That's multiples on multiples on multiples, right? And most of these at this stage of the market cycle are the ones where the big guys got it. Right, Ethereum, I'm not saying that you could get into the next Ethereum, okay? That's obviously not that easy. BNB, okay, same thing. Solana, okay, maybe not. I know some people that got into Solana, but maybe not, okay? Cardano, okay? But there is other sales which managed to be that bottom of the barrel, okay, which allowed normal people to make a lot of money, get in and get out, okay? But their products still failed. Now, this is the stage of the altcoin cycle, which is the best stage to get into, right? And these are some of the projects which had the highest return in the mania stage, okay, which you could have taken out money and made some profit on, okay? And I'll get into investing and tokenomics and all that fine stuff for those of you guys that are like, yeah, crazy numbers, but what's the real return? I'll get into that, okay? I'll get into that. So first things first, okay, let's have a look. Once we go down, yeah, the all-time high crazy ROIs are still pretty much the same for like Ethereum, BNB, and these ones, which these large hedge funds got into. In fact, you can click Ethereum, okay, if you click Ethereum here, and you can see some of the bigger funds that got in, like A16Z, Pantera, Galaxy, multi-billion-dollar funds, okay? But as an individual, there are also projects which normal people manage to get in. For example, Omni AI, okay? Multiverse X, Project Seed, Blocktopia, okay? Thorchain, Meta VPAD was actually pretty good. GMT, Quant, okay? GameFi, okay? So let's start off with a basic one. I'm just gonna pick one of these random ones. Okay, let's start with Project Show. Okay, and let's have a look at the fundraising. You can see Project Show raised $100,000 from GameFi, as you can see here, where it says raised. Okay, $150,000 from Solanium, $50,000 from GameStar. Okay, and it says NA for the rest, so it hasn't collected the data for each of these. Now you can see at current price, yeah, it's at 0.4x. So that means half your money, if you invested and didn't sell, you would lose half your money. But at all-time high, it was a 752x. 752x. That's ridiculous. That's 10 grand to 750 grand. Okay, which is absolutely insane. The question we then have is tokenomics, distribution, right? The fancy stuff. Because as you see in Dragon's Den, it's not always how it seems, right? You can do a deal on the table and then it goes and then it doesn't go through. So what is the difference that makes a successful entrepreneur inside the crypto space and one that isn't? And this is the key thing for me. It's one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had as an early investor. And that is vesting, okay? Vesting and tokenomics. Now, for seed, it doesn't have the vesting and tokenomics, but for some of them it does. In fact, I'll give you a good example. I'll give you a very, very good example. This is one of the projects that we managed to get into, okay? Through Launchpads alone, okay? Now, this is Nakamoto Games. Now, Nakamoto Games at all-time high, they're very, very good. In fact, if we do go to the, performance, let's have a look how it did perform. You can see at all-time high, it did a 37x. So that's $10,000 to $370,000, okay? And they did a small raise, okay, $50,000 on Synapse Network. Okay, I'll get into what all these different things are, you know, Synapse Network, GameFi, all these things, okay? But just an example, these guys raised $50,000 for their ICO on Synapse Network, right? So, if we go to the vesting, we can see at ICO, there was 10% of the tokens on day one, a 1 month cliff, okay, and a linear unlock for all of the private round one investors. For the public sale investors, there was 50%, a linear unlock of 2 months, which means every single day you get tokens divided by 2 months. So, okay, so for example, they'd have 50% of the tokens left, 1,000 tokens, divided by 2 months, which is 60 days. Okay, so you divide the tokens by 6 days, that's your percent. Okay, maths, brilliant. Now, that means that if it did 37x, which it did, okay, over the first 2 weeks, you had 50%. So that means your 10 grand, you would have had your 10 grand would have went up 37x. You could have sold 50% of that, okay, which is just under 150 grand, or just over 150 grand. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's life-changing for some people. In fact, it was life-changing for me personally, okay, in different types of launch pads. It's not always like this. Okay, I'm going to get into that later. Okay, but that's just the example. Okay, ridiculous returns. Now, there's different rounds, of course. There's private rounds, there's seed rounds, there's angel rounds, okay? And as the risk gets less, the return gets less. But as the risk is more, the return is more. For example, angel round, they got a lot lower price and their return is a lot more, but they've had to wait 2 years before they get the tokens, right? Public sale, they got 50% of their tokens on day one, right? So as you can see, there's different methods to playing this game, and some people play it different. Some people are only angel investors. Some people are only seed investors. Others are only IDOs and ICO investors. It just depends on what stage you are at, and it depends what stage you are comfortable playing. As always, guys, not financial advice. Do your own research. Read the disclaimers on my profile. everything. Okay, you can lose all of your money in this game. 99% of startups fail within the first 5 years. That's startups. No difference to Dragon's Den. No difference to all these other investor programs. Okay, and it's no different to Kickstarter. Okay, no different. Now, let's get into the nice jazz. Okay, so Nakamoto Games was just one of many. If we go back to the list of the launchpads of the launches that launched on Launchpads, okay, and we look at some of the ROI, it's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, we go back to ICOs, IDOs, again, past ICOs, IDOs, and we search them from all-time high ROI. You can see the list goes on, 900x, 833x for L1, which is still out right now, by the way, guys. Not all of these ones fail. Everyone's still a successful company. It's still running now. In fact, the current ROI to this day is 81x. Ridiculous, okay? And the list goes on for some of these ones. Chainlink, how much was Chainlink at? 145x at this price, 484x at the all-time high. Quant, 100x, 383x. GMT, you probably have GMT in your portfolio. It's a great project. 29x at this price, all-time high, 410x, okay? Star Launch, Waves, again, Waves is a good one, 12x at this price, 333x, the list goes on, okay? Look at Star Atlas and some of the other projects. It's ridiculous. BSC Pad, I remember BSC Pad was crazy, right? 320x. Now, how would you get into these projects, and how would you look at the new ones that are coming out? And when's the best time to get into them? So many questions. I'm going to answer all of that now, okay? So, first things first, how would you get into them, okay? All you need to do, head over to CryptoRank and go to IDO Launchpads, okay? IDO Launchpads over here. In fact, down here, Launchpads. Now, when you click Launchpad, you'll see a list of different ones. Now, I've already created a full tutorial, full free course on crypto and all these things, and I'll show you that at the end. But in short, this is the list of the best launchpads to find projects. Now, there is a top 10. My personal favorite is Paid Network and PokerStar. Personally, that's my favorite. They're the best ones I've had the best returns on. Downmaker is usually pretty hard. CDFi, it costs about, at this price, over $30,000 to get guaranteed allocation. Gamify is okay, but we recently had one of the biggest tiers on Gamify, and they just tried to offer us $150 allocation, which is terrible, right? Like we said before, we want to have $10,000, $5,000 in these projects and make great returns, right? $100 for 30 odd grand of initial tokens is ridiculous, okay? I think it was actually, I paid about 15, 16 grand, okay? So I paid about 15, 16 grand in Gamify tokens to get guaranteed allocation in their projects, and they gave me $150 of the last project launched. This DevMon. I was like, this is terrible. It's not worth my time. However, Paid Network has just released Paid 2.0, and I'm going to go through that towards the end. And they give everybody allocation just like Kickstarter. So you don't need to have tens of thousands of dollars. Obviously, you do get more benefits if you do have more money. But if you're just getting started out as a normal person with no experience, you can get started out just like Kickstarter and invest into normal projects. Now, if you click Paid Network over here, you can go through all of the past projects that they have launched. And if you look at their past projects, again, not all of these work out. In fact, 99% of these fail. 99%, okay? Most of them are going to fail. But if you do look at just the raw ROI and the all-time high ROI, you'll be able to see how it works out, right? You could lose money on 99% of projects. You could get a Star Atlas, an AIOZ, okay, or Theta, and make over 100x. In fact, for example, Theta, 264x at all-time high. Ridiculous, okay? You can click on there and look at the vesting and see how much you could have sold at 264x, okay? Same thing with Star Atlas, 194x. Again, ridiculous. That's 10 grand to 264 grand on your Theta, 10 grand to 194 grand on your Star Atlas, 10 grand to 184 grand. That's almost $1 million, okay? So they understand, now you understand. That's why venture capitalists invest the same money into 100 or 200 different projects, and they only need one or two to work to make profit on their whole portfolio. You can look up that in the psychology of money, understand how venture capital works, okay? Now, these projects are great, okay? These projects are absolutely great. But not only does Paid Network allow you to get into private sales, okay, get into private projects that are just launching and creating a portfolio completely for nothing, basically. It also allows you to stake the token and basically get paid from having the token staked, okay, which is absolutely ridiculous. One of the newest things that they've launched on paid version 2. Now, to learn more about Paid Network, all you need to do is on CryptoRank, underneath socials, just click this little website button here. And it's going to open up the Paid Network website. Now, Paid Network as a whole, okay, they have just launched V2, which if you go to, I think the website's a bit new. If you do go down here, I think it's here, and upcoming projects. Here, click the wiki right here. Okay, and on the wiki, you can read up all about Paid Network. For every single question, I get asked tons of questions in Telegram. Every single question you possibly could have is answered inside of here in terms of, okay, well, what money do I make if I stake the token? Answered. Okay, what's the economy? Answered. Okay, what are the different pools? Okay, you know, Tyrone mentioned that as a normal person I can get in. Okay, early stage pools, questions answered. Okay, I'm not going to read through the wiki for you. Okay, but in long story short, Paid Network is one of the best projects to get into. Now, there's also another ROI. So not only can you make 100x on the Launchpad projects, we've been through that. Okay, not only can you create a portfolio, a diversified portfolio of all these different narratives, instead of having to think about, okay, what narrative to chase? How do I catch it? You just get into the Launchpad projects because they already know what's hyped. That's why they're listing it. Okay. What about the actual coin? Paid Network has a coin. Okay. What potential returns have people made in the past on returns? Now remember, past success is not the thingy of future results. Okay. Past success does not represent future success. Okay. But if you do go look at CoinMarketCap, okay, everybody asks what's this website? CoinMarketCap. Okay. You go on to Paid Network. Okay. Just click search. You can look at the price of Paid Network and look how it tends to perform in the ICO, IDO areas. Now I'm going to give you the exact time, the exact date when ICO, IDO is going to start popping off. But look, you can see, right? At all-time high, this thing was $5. At its lows, this thing is over $1.04. Currently, it's at less than 30 cents. They haven't released staking. They haven't released any good IDOs yet. Nobody's seen a bloody 50x. Everybody's like, what is this? Nobody even knows what Launchpad is. That's why I'm making these videos, right? Early to the game, it's 30 cents. When people finally figure out about Launchpads, about Star Atlas, about, you know, Mattis DAO, whatever it's called, right? These 100x projects, these Blocktopia 1000x projects, this thing is not going to ever be 30 cents again. It's not good. Why would people want to sell it? Why are you going to want to sell your Paid Network token when you find 50x, 20x? You're not. That's why it goes to, you know, these super high prices, right? These $4 or $5, okay? Bear market, different story. It's all going to go to zero. It's all going to zero, right? Bear market all night. Nothing survives a BTC pullback. That's just the game. But bull market, different story. We, my friend, are in a bull market. Now, there's a time for this, and it works on cycles, okay? It works on market cycles. Now, what market cycles are is these are the stages of the market. Now, most people are not aware of what stage of the market they're in. They tend to, you know, rely on other people, have to ask other people, and that's fine, okay? But it means that you're going to be, you know, other people can suggest and decide in your portfolio. Imagine if the news changes tomorrow and they're like, right, we hate Bitcoin, we're not buying it, blah, 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 blah. They probably are. But because you're, you know, having to worry about other people's opinions, it might mean you might sell. You might say, but it says there's a global economic crisis. I'm selling. And the price goes up. It doesn't make sense. That's what happens to normal people. But if you know this, you're not going to have that problem. Okay. Now, market cycles, again, for those of you guys that are new here, you have the BTC halvings as we're entering the fourth halving, approximately scheduled for around about March, but it might be March, April. Okay. You have a year before BTC halving and 2 years before BTC halving. And every single cycle is pretty much the same. Now, currently, we are entering the altcoin season, which is always after Bitcoin halving. It might be a little bit early into Bitcoin halving, but it's always after. That means that if I want to get in early, now I'm placing my bets in Launchpads and altcoins. Very simple, right? Just like in, you know, 2 years before BTC halving, it made sense to buy Bitcoin. Like, why am I going to buy an altcoin where I can take loads of risk, where I could just buy Bitcoin? Okay, just like over, you know, after we bought the Bitcoin, we could have been like, okay, okay, now Bitcoin's recovered. Okay, altcoins, right? Large market cap altcoins, they're all going to fly. Boom, again. Same thing where now is like, okay, if I know BTC halving's coming, a lot of these altcoins which I wanted to buy are too high. So why don't I look for some of the smaller market cap altcoins, a different type of altcoins and launchpads, because that makes sense. Makes sense. And then you'll see in 6 months, 12 months down the time, paid network is back at, you know, $2, $3. Okay. So this is the exact time to be buying. Okay. The exact time I'm selling is always after BTC passes all-time high and goes into price discovery. Makes sense to be taking profit. That's usually when people start buying. It's just logic. Okay. If I'm buying now, BTC's past all-time high, makes sense to start taking some profit. Secondly, 2 years after BTC halving, okay, so approximately between 2025, okay, and late 2025, 2026. Okay, so all 2024 is lit. But as it gets, you know, a little bit crazy, 2025, 2026, that's the times when I can start letting go of my Launchpad tokens. I can start going, okay, paid networks at $2, paid networks at $3. I can start selling. I took action. I bought when it was 30 cents, when everybody said it wouldn't work. Now it's making money, lit, okay, taking some profits. Then I can start looking at my portfolio and going, okay, let me get rid of these gaming tokens. I've been in gaming now since 2023. Let me start getting rid of them, right? You can see how it plays out. However, if you're one of these people that only just get started when it's too late, when BTC's past all-time high, when all the launch pads are doing 50 or 100x, when, you know, all the altcoins are super expensive, when people are buying their NFTs, that's when it's supposed to be the opposite way around, right? You're gonna get wrecked. That's how people got wrecked last cycle, okay? So they're the exact times I'm taking profit. Now, hopefully, guys, you enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions whatsoever, please let me know in the link down below. I do have a Telegram channel. You can also join that. And finally, guys, if you are somebody that needs to learn more about tokenomics, about investing, about where's the best place to buy crypto, all these other questions that you might have, I made a 5-hour free course, which you can watch right here or right here. I was going to explain every little thing you're going to need to know in exact step-by-step detail. It's a full tutorial. So thank you very much. Watch the next video, and I'll see you later on.